Hey guys, it's Nina. Today we're doing this. So as you can see, I'm at home for the holidays and I am in my childhood house, and that's why the background is a little different than normal. Today I wanted to talk to you about the greatest Christmas movie of all time, hands down, no arguments. Blizzard from 2003. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the plot of the movie, and then I'll move into why it's so good. So this movie starts out with my boy Dallas from Degrassi sledding down a hill with his best friend, who is the main character of the movie. And then you find out that Dallas is actually moving out of town, and the main character, Jesse, is really sad about that. So he leaves, and then for weeks after, apparently she is not eating and she is just staying in her bedroom and she's really sad. And she rejects Derek. Poor little Derek wants to just sled with her and she just rejects him. And so her parents decide to bring over Aunt Millie because they think maybe Aunt Millie could cheer her up. And Aunt Millie decides to tell her a story. The story is actually the plot of the movie. So it's basically like The Princess Bride, where there's a kid getting told a story and the story is what happens in the movie. It's like a Princess Bride Christmas. So Aunt Millie starts off by telling us about this character, Katie. Katie's family is not too well off because this takes place during the Great Depression. But she loves to skate. She's always on the pond near her house. And turns out she actually only has hockey skates, and so she can't really do the figure skating that she wants to do. But then this little old man comes up to her and is like, hey, I'll teach you how to skate because I am a great figure skater. He won some medals and stuff when he was younger. Apparently he's really famous. And her mom is like, oh no, we can't do that because we don't have any money. And he's like, I'll do it for free. And Otto is just one of the greatest characters of this movie. His accent, his demeanor, when Katie goes to show off her routine to her family and the boys are making fun of her, her two brothers, Otto comes up to them and he literally says,
silence if you want to live another day.
So then they do a montage of her learning from Otto and becoming a really great skater. Then the story moves on to the reindeer's side. So the reindeer, who is actually named Blizzard, which is why the movie is named Blizzard, is this sort of troublemaker reindeer, doesn't follow the rules. She turns out to be a really great flyer as she grows up, and you find out that she has all 3 of the special reindeer gifts. But she's also a really big rule breaker, so you gotta watch out for her. Then once we get back to Katie, we find out that her dad found a better job in the city and they have to move away from Otto, and it's all really sad. And then when they get to the city, Katie has to readjust to not being able to skate again. And then her brothers are fooling around and they knock over a gift that Otto gave to her, which is one of his medals. And she gets really, really sad. And because Blizzard has the 3rd reindeer gift, which is being able to hear and see what's happening to a sad child, they call it empathic navigation. She sees what happens to Katie and she sees how sad Katie is, and she wants to go and help her. But of course, Blizzard is not allowed to do that. She's not allowed to go and talk to a human, but she does it anyway. And that's how Katie and Blizzard become friends. Blizzard is like, why are you so sad? She's like, I can't skate anymore. I just moved to the city. And so Blizzard takes her to her old pond, by flying. And then they do this weird, reindeer skating dance, which was, a great scene, but also, I'm worried that she's gonna get kicked in the head by the reindeer. But anyways, it's the beginning of a great friendship. Blizzard then goes back to the North Pole. Katie notices this skating club near her school where all these sort of rich girls get to go and skate, and she's always there snooping around, and they call her Snooper. There's this one very mean girl named Erin who calls her Snooper, and she's like, you gotta get out of here, you're distracting us. This is for real skaters. And Katie's like, I am a real skater. I could do exactly what you can do. And she's like, oh yeah, prove it. So then they make a time to meet up so that they can skate together. And we get one of the greatest lines of the movie, which is when Erin says,
look, tomorrow after our practice, show up at your Snoop door.
It's so weird, but I love it. Of course, then Katie does show up with the encouragement of Blizzard, and she does amazingly. And then the club manager lady sees her and is like, hey, you want to join our team? She's like, I can't afford it. And she's like, oh, let me deal with that. Honestly, Katie's a little lucky here. Anyway, Katie eventually gets to join the skate club and she's having a lot more fun now. In the meantime, Blizzard's in the North Pole breaking some rules. She's flying at night, not allowed to do. She's sneaking out of a paddock because she's invisible. That's the 2nd reindeer gift, which she's not allowed to do. She's having some fun with her friend Jeremy the elf and then the reindeer Donner Jr. You can tell right away that Donner Jr. likes her.
You guys want to try flying with me?
Actually, we're doing guy stuff. Blizzard,
Hi. Yeah.
Hey, Donna Jr.
Told you, we're doing guy stuff. No girls allowed.
And like, that's just amazing. Like, there's like a reindeer ship in this movie. Like, what? Who thought of that? That was the best idea ever. And then tragedy after tragedy happens. Otto dies, which makes Katie very sad again. She is asked, however, by the skate coach if she wants to compete in the qualifiers for the big national competition because they can select 2 people from the club to do it. And she's like, yeah, totally. But then Erin just comes and ruins her skates. So the big problem is that she doesn't have any skates. And Blizzard's like, I'm on the case. So Blizzard comes around. She's like, I'll get you some skates. And they fly back to the North Pole and basically steal a pair of skates from another kid. That was like a gift for another kid. But it's all good. They'll return it. So then Katie comes back, skates amazingly with these new pair of skates, and qualifies for the competition. But now Blizzard is in major trouble because there's this reindeer called Aphrodite. She's got like this crooked snout, and this whole movie she's been like telling on Blizzard about all the things that she's doing, like being invisible, flying at night. And now she actually saw Katie and Blizzard in the North Pole together, which is one of the major rules. And then the number 1 major rule is stealing a gift from another child. So Blizzard is in a lot of trouble. So then what happens is Jeremy and Donner Jr. fly on over to Katie and they're like, we really got to get those skates back because Blizzard's in a lot of trouble. And Katie's like, oh no, I got to go save her. So then they leave Jeremy there, and then Katie goes to the North Pole and she like walks into the courthouse and is like, don't do anything to Blizzard. Blizzard is fine. And then everything's okay. And then Santa Claus is like, oh my gosh, you have all 3 of the reindeer gifts. And I don't think I'm explaining this very well, but like I'm really passionate about it. It's a great movie and you should watch it, okay? So then Santa lets Blizzard off the hook, but he warns that Blizzard and Katie can never see each other again. And then Jessie, back in the other world, is like, oh, why'd you tell me this story? You know, you're trying to cheer me up about my friend leaving. And then Aunt Millie is like, listen, it's because Katie learns that Blizzard will always live on in her heart. So friends may go away, but friendship never dies, and it's so beautiful, right? Oh my gosh, and I totally forgot about one part. So Erin's dad is like super, super aggressive about how she should skate, and he's very like stern. And so after the competition, she like yells at her about how like poorly she did, even though she qualified. And so then Erin runs away, and she like runs away onto some thin ice, like literal thin ice. And Katie hears about like Erin having run away, and then she asks Blizzard, hey Blizzard, can you like see where she is? And then Blizzard uses her empathic telepathy navigation thing to see where Erin is, and they're like, oh no, Erin's in danger. Get off of there, Ruby. That's the cat. So then Blizzard and Katie go fly over to save her, and they save her from the water, and then Erin is like, well, is this a reindeer? Like what? And then Katie's like, yeah, I'll tell you all about it later, but like Blizzard has to get back. So that was kind of an important scene. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to why I think it's so good. So basically this movie has like 4 storylines in it. There's a storyline with Jessie and how sad she is, and her aunt. Then there's a storyline with Katie and Otto, like how she's learning how to skate. And then of course Blizzard in the North Pole, learning how to navigate her 3 gifts and like being rebellious and stuff. And then her relationship with Donner Jr. And then the 4th story would be the relationship between Katie and Erin and the whole skate club situation. I just love how dynamic the movie is and how it flows into each story, and then it comes back around to Jessie. It's also really cool how the movie takes place in 2 different eras. So we have Jessie in like 2003, I assume, and then we have Katie back in the 1930s. What's really cool about this movie is how they depict the North Pole. It's very different and unique from all of the other Christmas movies that I've seen. It's a little bit comparable to the Santa Claus, because the Santa Claus's North Pole is also like a machine, you know? And in this movie, it's very much like that too. The elves are like workers, and then we have the main bad guy who is like their boss, and he's always like telling them what to do and like keeping them on track. And it's not like a happy-go-lucky place like every other movie says, which is fine. I think it's like more realistic that way, and more like, it's just more interesting. And then one of my favorite parts of Santa Claus in this movie is he's so weird. He's basically Dumbledore, and he keeps saying these weird things, these weird quotes that I could pull out and show you here.
Come quickly. There is something you must see.
You're feeling sickly and hurt your knee?
No, see. Hurry, follow me.
What fairy hollow tree?
You, little girl, cannot be in here. Santa, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Archimedes, for the love of Christmas, pipe down. Pipe down and sit down.
Let me hear what this child has to say. Great balls of tinsel, you can be annoying sometimes.
But Santa, the rules.
Well, it's a good point, Archimedes. The rules. I think there are too darn many.
He's just so funny and amazing and like chill. Then of course the reindeer dynamics are really cool because the reindeers themselves have their own families, husbands, wives, kids, and they act like it's their job as well. There's a scene where Blizzard is sneaking out of her paddock and then there's these two reindeer that are having like a water cooler conversation about their work that day.
Oh man, my hooves are on fire. I could really use a pedicure.
Yeah, no kidding. I've got some nasty chafing from today's practice.
Yeah, my wife says I should soak in a warm bath with a little bit of lavender.
Lavender? Who knew?
Yeah, it's supposed to relieve stress.
Did you hear something?
And I just think it's really unique and interesting and there's no other words to describe it. It's different, which is why it's amazing. Another great scene in the movie is when Erin is showing Katie her skate routine and then she finishes and she's like, ha, what about that? And then Katie's just like,
That was good.
that was good. And it just made me feel very much like, yes, kill him with kindness, you know, like, you got this. What confused me though is that at the big performance at the end where they're like competing for qualifiers, obviously Katie does an amazing job, but then Erin all of a sudden is just like very supportive of her. She's like, yeah, you did great. And it's just like, where in the movie was that shift in her like ideas towards Katie? I mean, my only theory would be maybe it's because just Katie did such an amazing job that you just can't not congratulate her. But it's also strange. But I'm not against it because I really like Erin and Katie together as friends. Another interesting part of this story is that Blizzard's parents could care less about Blizzard being banished from the North Pole. Like, I don't see them at all being like, why are you doing this to our daughter? They're just like, yep, our daughter is rebellious and she deserves this. Okay there, Blitzen. And as the story wraps up between Katie and Blizzard, you find out that Aunt Millie is actually Katie. Jessie goes to open a drawer in Aunt Millie's trunk and she finds the medal that Otto gave Katie. And it says MKA on it because her real full name is Mildred Katie Andrews. And it's just like mind-blowing and amazing, and this story is so cliche but so good. It's just so good. And then since Jessie finds out that friendship lives on in the heart, she finds the courage to make new friends. And Derek, the boy that she rejected at the beginning, comes around again to ask if she can go tobogganing with him, and she's like, yes. So justice for Derek. And one of my favorite parts is that Blizzard actually ends up with Donner Jr., like the ship of the two reindeer that you're like, is that happening? Is that really going on? Is confirmed at the end. They are older now, and they have like little reindeer kids. And then DJ's like,
Yes, dear. I knew that.
like, what? Why do I ship deer? I don't know, but you just gotta. Anyways, guys, that is the best Christmas movie ever. And if you want to fight me in the comments, go ahead. I know that there are a lot of good Christmas movies. I personally like Jack Frost and Unaccompanied Minors. But, I mean, can they really beat Blizzard? Can they? I don't think so. Let me know any other shows or movies that you want me to watch or talk about because I need them. And subscribe and follow me on my socials. They're written down below. See you next time. What are you doing, cat?